Hello. Welcome to... Okay, so this is sort of a historic episode, kind of. So this is episode number 70-something of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. But on my phone app, in which I use to record my podcast, in which... I'm going to keep saying in which I have since learned produces extremely poor sound quality, because I listened to an episode for probably the first time in a year a couple weeks ago, and it turned on, and I thought, what? Like, I didn't know it was, my podcast, the Nobody Asked for This podcast, that was going to play. It was just sort of the next podcast on deck when I was driving, and I was like, oh, this is really bad. And then I heard my voice, and I was like, oh, it is bad. I can confirm 100% fact that it was bad. But anyway, this is what makes it so historic is it is the 199th recording into my phone. This is called New Recording 199, and I just feel like we have to acknowledge that and celebrate that now, because, just in case I encounter a noise that I want to capture the audio of within the next week before I record episode number 70-something plus one. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is I'm scared that I'm going to sit down next week and it's going to be new recording like 202 because I've recorded other random things. So I think we just have to acknowledge, we have to celebrate where we're at in this moment, which is new recording 199, which will be the title of this podcast. So yeah, I hope everyone has had a great week. We are officially entering, I think, the Christmas season. I think it's happening, or holiday season. There's a few different holidays happening, but we are, I'm Canadian. I don't do the American Thanksgiving at the end of November, but that's even out of the way. So it's really like, once we hit Friday, December 1st, there is no reason for anyone to tell me that it is too early to put up your Christmas lights, to put up your Christmas tree, to listen to Christmas music. Like, it will fully be December. But I have some bad news. For whatever reason, I haven't been able to get fully into the Christmas spirit. Now, it started to come today. I was drinking a hot chocolate. I was like really, really looking hard, like staring at the Christmas tree. My Christmas tree is up, by the way, just so everyone knows. It went up last weekend. This weekend? Like, the one that's happened, not the one that's upcoming, but, like, not 2 weeks ago, like, less than 7 days ago. However you interpret that. That's always so confusing when someone's like, we're going to do this next Tuesday. I did that the following Wednesday. I'm like, what? Just say a number. Just say December this, November that. Use the calendar. Because it's like, okay, when you say next Tuesday, you could also just say Tuesday. Like, why did I say next Tuesday? I don't think we're making plans. Like, if you're making a plan with someone and they go, okay, yeah, we'll meet next Tuesday. Like, let's say today. It's Thursday today. Technically Wednesday when I'm recording this, but let's pretend it's Thursday. Yeah, okay, so let's meet next Monday. So do you mean, like, not the one in 3 days, the one in, 10 days? Because next Monday implies that it's not... It almost implies that it's not the next one, when it is the next one. So you could have just said, let's meet Monday. Either I'm making all of the sense in the world, or this is extremely hard to follow and confusing. That could probably be said for this entire podcast experience. But either way, I hope everyone's having fun. I hope everyone has had a decent week. I hope you've maybe read a good book. I hope you've maybe tried a new drink at your favorite coffee shop local, and such and such and such and such. I've actually had a pretty interesting week, not in a major way, but in like a few minor ways. I don't do too much planning for these, as you could probably tell. But every once in a while, I'll sit down before I click the record button at a crisp 8:56 p.m. This is probably one of the earlier recordings I've had lately. I feel like I've been doing a lot of 10:34 p.m., 11:01 p.m. So we're doing it a bit ahead of schedule this week. But before I clicked record, I had a brief sort of think on what the last week has brought, and I have some things that I would like to share. They're not great, but they're things to share. I would like to start with, for whatever reason, I have been attacked this week. I've been attacked. I've been inundated. I have been made the target of something on my YouTube Shorts. Now, I do not participate in TikTok. This show, like this podcast, has had a TikTok. It has not been active since June, maybe early July of 2022. And the first episode of this came out in June of 2022. So it was it was fast and furious. I think I did like 3 or 4 TikToks. I edited them all. I spent like hours doing TikToks. Not of me, like, thank God, not of me dancing or like doing the Macarena or whatever. Which, can I just say, like, the YMCA was the original TikTok dance. Like the YMCA, the Macarena, and then sort of following that, the Hoedown Throwdown of Hannah Montana the movie. That was the original TikTok. Also, I do have a quick question about the TikTok dances. I wonder sometimes if, like, in not medical school, but like psychology school or like anthropology, or is it sociology or anthropology? Let me tell you, I have Googled the difference between anthropology and sociology probably 47 times. It's one of the things that it's in the rotation of things that I Google, but for whatever reason, I'll know for like 4 minutes and then forget again. So in that rotation, just because I'm sure everyone's wondering, we're just going to kind of follow this tangent. I Google difference between anthropology and sociology. I Google what part of coffee makes you, like when you take a sip of coffee in the morning and then 40 seconds later you need Cottonelle to be involved in the cleanup of said coffee. Like I've Googled, is it the bean juice part or is it the caffeine part that, sends it all south, so to speak? I don't exactly remember the answer. I've Googled it probably 60 times this year. I'll probably Google it another 20 times by year's end. That's just kind of how it goes. I also Google quite frequently, probably on a bi-weekly basis, which don't even get me started on the term bi-weekly. Doesn't mean every other week. Doesn't mean twice a week. Like, that is truly a flaw. That's like an idea I would have. Like, hey guys, I have this great idea for a term to describe every other week. It's bi-weekly. And then everyone around me would be like, but that could also mean twice a week. And I would just be like, good point. And then scratch that idea. For whatever reason, whoever thought of that idea decided not to scratch it, which, interesting choice on their part. But something I Google bi-weekly is Queen Elizabeth still with us? For whatever reason, I just feel like her departure didn't have the impact that I thought it once was. This is something... this is a rare case of something that you could actually go back if you cared enough and listen to a live reaction, not live, but like a in the moment reaction of live and in the moment are the same term. What am I trying to say? Like a in real time reaction of me kind of processing that news. I guess it would have been September 2022. There was an episode. I feel like she passed on a Thursday, so it was probably a week after by the time I recorded it. My response a week after she had passed, but and we had talked about her, several times. She was like, and I feel like I started the sentence so long ago, she being Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth was like one of the few current event topics that I would talk about, because I don't really do current events, because who cares about a nobody's opinion on random stories, That's like one of the pillars of the show. Like, I'm just truly talking about nonsense and not involving anyone else. It really comes from an egotistical place. Like, I don't want to discuss other people. I just kind of want to discuss myself. But I pretend it's like for like businessy reasons. But yes, I did talk about Queen Elizabeth, and then she did pass, and I did talk about it. But for some reason, I still can't remember if she's gone. So I Google all the time. What else do I Google all the time? Oh, I Google the difference between... or not really the difference between, but I Google like I need renewed details on like Norway, Holland, like what Dutch is, like all of those words were like it's not Norwegia, it's Norway. And then also like the Netherlands, I confused them, but I think if it's from the Netherlands, is the Netherlands Dutch? And then like Holland is like kind of a place, but like we don't really call it that anymore. Okay, Holland is the Netherlands. I don't know. See, I'm doing it right now. I'm Googling it live. Basically, to wrap this up, there's a select few things that I Google all the time. One of them being the difference between anthropology and sociology. Couldn't tell you now in this moment what the difference is. But why I brought this up to begin with, which I'm so proud of myself for remembering, because I feel like so many times I just go on these tangents and never bring it back, which thank goodness no one's listening to this, because that would be embarrassing if they were. Just want to do the quick episodic weekly reminder that I know that no one's listening to this. If you happen to have stumbled upon this off of YouTube, do not think, oh my gosh, this is a crazy person deciding that he has listeners, has viewers. He's talking to 7 million people. How embarrassing. Trust me, I know that I'm not. I just don't know how to do this any other way. Like if I was really being honest about, no one listening to this, the podcast would sound like this. Okay, ready? This is what it would sound like. Because what's the point? So I'm just going to pretend there's people listening. But to get back to my original point, in the schools of anthropology and sociology, when they start talking about the impact of COVID and the pandemic, are they going to talk about TikTok? Like, are they going to talk about, like, while everyone was, like, quarantining inside, trying to, like, save lives, there was a large percentage of the population learning like new dances? Also, something I've started to notice, I feel like TikTok is going further away from being like a dancing app. Like I feel like there's not as many dancings. Now it's just sort of turning into Vine, which the great irony of that for me personally was when Vine was popular, I was probably like middle school age. So like later, I didn't actually go, I always refer to my age as like middle school age. I didn't actually go to an actual middle school. I just did elementary and then went into high school. But like I was probably like upper elementary, lower high school, which is middle school age. But that's the age there was during Vine. And I just didn't care enough to get involved. And then Vine actually just stopped being an app. I don't know what happened there. It was like a Flappy Bird situation. It was just there one day, gone the next, which is quite poetic. But I had to hear for the next, 3 or 4 years of my high school journey, I had to hear people referencing all these Vines that I had no idea what it was. And every once in a while I would try and like watch Vine compilations. And the thing with the Vine, it was only 6 seconds. So it's like, you could like a 10-minute compilation of Vines is like, I don't know the math, but like 600 Vines. I don't think it's quite that many, but you know what I mean. It was a lot of Vines. And I always promised myself if Vine ever came back, or if there was like a new Vine, I was going to be on top of it. I was going to be on it. I was going to be quoting it. I was going to be, I was going to be head of the Vine committee or whatever the app was. And that app has made itself known. It's called TikTok, and I could not care less. That's not true. Maybe it's not that I couldn't care less. I just don't have space for a whole other like personality trait, if that makes sense. Not that I don't have time. I'm sure I can make time. I don't know. I think I was just too lazy. You know what? This is what it was. During the time of COVID, I didn't know what my Apple ID password it was, so I wasn't able to download any new apps. And then by the time I, garnered the courage, strength, bravery, and will to rectify that situation, it was already too late. So, I don't know. But why I tell you this is because I do have the YouTube app. And not to brag, I might be on a free trial of YouTube Premium. Not to brag. But on YouTube, on the YouTube app, I don't think you need YouTube Premium for this, but on the YouTube app, they have like a smaller section entitled YouTube Shorts. It's kind of like an Instagram reel, and it's essentially TikTok. Like you swipe like it's TikTok, like it's TikTok. And I've been told it's like really behind. I've been told it's TikTok first, and then Instagram Reels, it takes about a month, and then YouTube Shorts, it takes about 6 months to get like what was trending at any given time. So it's like I'm seeing the trends on YouTube Shorts in late November 2023. I'm probably watching like mid-July 2023 TikToks, which actually makes sense for what I'm about to tell you, which is that what is trending on YouTube Shorts is people putting syrups into their water, into their like, not even necessarily carbonated water, just like still water. I think we talked about this last week, but you know how there's that aisle in like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Winners of food, and they always have those syrups? It literally looks like the syrups from there. It's like sugar-free hazelnut, sugar-free, they love a pina colada, sugar-free, like a salted caramel, and people are just like making recipes of water. And they have those big jugs of water with a straw, the Stanley Cup, which I was extremely confused when I saw on a Christmas list that I was, looking at. I want a Stanley Cup for Christmas. I said, a Stanley Cup? Isn't that like millions of dollars? Like I was thinking the hockey trophy, like the NHL Stanley Cup. But no, apparently it's the brand of a water bottle. Which, if anybody's noticed, if anyone's done some research and development on water bottles, I feel like every 2 or 3 years, there's like a new it water bottle that like everyone runs out and buys. And then apparently forgets about because there's another new it water bottle. If the first one was the Swell, it kind of was shaped like a wine bottle. Like it had like the skinnier top, and then it went like whoosh at the bottom. I understand in an audio format you can't really do that whoosh. You don't know what that looks like, but I think you'll know what I mean. It like jets out at the bottom. And now forgive me, I might be missing some, but after the Swell, it was the Hydro Flask. The Hydro Flask was the huge one that had it's like a straw, but the straw like folds in and like pops back up. So it was that, and then for a while it was like huge, like tumblers with a straw, like almost like a cup that you'd put iced coffee in, but like huge with a straw. We were all carrying that, just drinking our water out of. And then more recently, it's been the Stanley Cup, which is like this huge cup. And now I guess, or according to YouTube Shorts, it's now. So it's probably, again, like midsummer, which actually makes sense. Like you need hydration in mid-July. And now you're supposed to be putting into your Stanley Cup just still water from the tap with an array, because it's never just one. It's always like 3 or 4 different syrups. Or sometimes they have like a packet of like a Crystal Light situation, or like Tang, but it's usually 99% of the time I've seen like sugar-free, or they'll have like a stevia packet. And I was watching probably like 46 of these videos, and I thought, you know what, I really get it. I really could sit here all day and just watch people put, sugar-free mermaid sauce or whatever it's called into their water. Like what? Like just like watching different recipes. So I have yet to try TJ Maxx water, JCPenney water, Winners water, but if anyone would like to donate a sugar-free syrup, even sugar's fine, a syrup, let me know. I'll do it. I'll try it. I'll try anything once. Well, that's not true. I'll try some things once. And if I didn't like it, I'll never try it again. But yeah, I'm not going to buy the $100 Stanley Cup. I just think that's like an extra step. Like I'm gonna really wait till I'm drinking enough sugar-free syrup water to justify like needing a 40-ounce carryable quantity of it. But for now, that's what we're rocking with. I also saw we need to start putting half and half in our Diet Coke, I saw a recipe for, and it was in the same Stanley cup. Someone put like 2 or 3 cans of Diet Coke, a squeeze of lime, some sugar-free coconut syrup, and half and half. At first I was confused, but it is one of those things where you're like, yuck. Just off the bat, yuck. But then you think about it and you're like, okay, it sounds like a milkshake, kind of. Like that, or like a float. It's a float. Okay, because individually, like, I've had lime in a Diet Coke. Every fancy restaurant does it. Okay, so that's not so bad. Coconut syrup, sure. I'm sure, like, I bet you in some countries they do, like, a coconut-flavored Diet Coke. That's not, like, the craziest thing I've ever heard. They did a while ago. I think they did a coconut Diet Coke. They did, like, a line of flavored Diet Cokes. They did, like, a vanilla, obviously a lime, a cherry, a pineapple, I think, and probably a coconut. So that's not so weird. But then they start getting, like, dairy involved, and it's like, okay, this is maybe a stretch. But again, I am 100% willing to try it. In fact, I will try it live. Not live. It's just live. Okay, question. Does live mean, like, when we say, like, streaming live, does that mean it's happening, like, in the moment that you're watching this? Because if that's the case, then no, nothing I do on this podcast is live. But, like, I'm live, like, doing it. It's just, like, then, like, saved as an audio file and then processed and put on the internet maybe 3 or 4 hours later, depending on how early I am. I'm a little bit earlier today, so it's closer to probably, like, 2.5. Which is actually less time. I don't know. But I will, before year's end, do a live taste test. A semi-live taste test of the half and half Diet Coke, coconut syrup. I'm going to have to procure some sugar-free coconut syrup. I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. Hopefully Amazon. Oh, also, thank goodness that Black Friday's over. Not because I wanted, no one to get any sales, but I was so sick and tired of all the emails. Also, the sales weren't even that great. It was like 15% off. I swear, I never knew I was signed up to so many email chains. Like, so many. Like, nuts.com, somethingelse.com. Let me open my email now. I'll tell you. Oh, yeah, I just got 2:03 p.m. nuts.com. Like, when did I sign up for nuts.com? Old Navy. That one, I'll keep that one. Candy Funhouse. Like, what? Showcase. It's a bit much. It's a bit much. Best Buy. I haven't bought something from Best Buy since 2007. Since I stopped carrying DVDs. What else? ThermoWorks. Like, what is that? It's apparently they sell very bougie meat thermometers. I don't even cook meat. It's just all this stuff that, like, how did you get my email? Also, speaking of how did you get my contact information, I would like to do a public plea to whoever is in charge of sending spam phone calls. I don't know what I signed up for. I don't know what box I forgot to tick or untick. I don't know what terms and conditions I accepted to put me in such a position, but I get at least 3 spam calls a day. One from the same number, every day at 9 a.m. It's like 9:04 a.m. I get the same call from the same phone number. And I don't know what it is. Now, I've never answered. I haven't even thought about answering it. And I really, up until this point, haven't thought about blocking the call. But the problem is, like, they're getting better, these spam callers, in that the numbers don't always look like robot numbers. Like, I swear, a few years ago, I used to get calls with, like, legit letters in the numbers. It's like, you're getting a phone call from 894V2CC9, and it's like, what's happening? Like, it's literally a zip code is calling you. But now it just looks like it always looks like your own phone number or, like, at least the area code from where you live in. And it's like, is this the doctor calling me? Like, I literally, after probably the 5th day in a row of getting this phone call, I was racking my brain of, like, do I have an appointment that I'm forgetting about? Do I have, like, did I go for, like, some sort of test that, like, the results have come in? And I think the answers are all no. And they've never left a voicemail. I fully understand that I could have just answered and or blocked the phone call. But, like, what if they're trying to tell me something important? What if every day at some important office of fancy business dealings, there's a receptionist that sits down at their desk and goes, 9:05, early bird gets the worm. Let's call this guy, so let's see if he's going to answer. What if it's the podcast awards telling me that I was nominated for a podcast award? I never thought of it that way. You know what? I am going to answer them. See, this is something else that I would do live on the podcast. If I could, I would phone in the person that was trying to call me. Let me just see. I'm going to go to my missed calls. This person has called me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7 calls from one phone number in the last week. And then 1, 2, 3. They keep alternating. 4, 5, 6, 7. Another 7 calls. That's nuts. Like, what did I do to deserve this? Why do good things happen to bad people? Or no, the other way around. Why do bad things happen to good people? I don't know. I can't tell you. I can't tell you that. I can only tell you that my phone is probably going to explode because I'm not used to getting so many calls. Also, I still have the horizontal... Oh no, what's the opposite of horizontal? Vertical. I still have the vertical green line going down the right side of it. And I just feel like if it was something important, they would leave a voicemail. But those robots normally do. Because I check my voicemail. Every once in a while, I'll check it. And I got 4 free trips to Bermuda, 3 packages waiting at the border. It's like the 12 days of Christmas. 4 trips to Bermuda, 3 packages at the border, 2 bum dials, and a warrant out for my arrest. Honestly, not a bad jingle. I would like to know... I would like a documentary done on where these calls come from. Like, how did they get my phone number? Because I'm always a person that's like, I'm not important enough for anyone to try and, hack me. No one is, waking up in the morning, risking jail time to do anything, to have anything to do with me. So it obviously is anonymous. But it's where... are there just, factories of people just dialing numbers, hoping someone's going to answer? I would truly like to know. A Netflix documentary. They love a documentary, a shockumentary where they're calling people out. They're always an episode or two too long. It really gets into the details. It's and the cult leaders would only let us eat mustard. And it's okay, well, we got it. They're bad. But maybe a 3-part documentary would have worked. We don't have to get into the nitty gritty of what the cafeteria looks like. What wallpaper they used. But Netflix, get on that. Because it's important work, these documentaries. But they're really eye-opening. And I think it's probably... I would like to know if anyone's ever watched one of those documentaries and realized they were in a bad situation and then got out. Because I think that would be documentary-worthy in of itself. Anyway, I'm going to be honest with you. I had a big, long list and got to... Okay, but not a big, long list. I probably had 5 things that I was going to talk about. And I probably got to 2 1/3 of them. But that's okay, because there's always next week on the Nobody Asked for This podcast. I will see you all in December. That's crazy. Because is this... Yeah, so this will... Is there a November 31st? I probably Google that every November 30th. Let me see. Oh, big shocker. Wikipedia is still asking for money. Okay, maybe that's rude. Maybe they need the money. I don't know. I would know nothing without Wikipedia. Someone just please give them the $2 that they're asking for. Has anyone given money to Wikipedia? I honestly, you know what? Where's the documentary on that? I want to see the building where they run the prank phone calls, and I want to see the building where they run Wikipedia. Also, I'm a little confused as to what they need so much money for. Because, let's be honest, I was doing all their writing. I basically freelanced for Wikipedia in the 5th grade. I would just go in there and change everything. I was changing things for the better and for the worse. I used my powers for both good and evil. Whatever sort of felt right on that day. For anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, Wikipedia, obviously, online encyclopedia thing has an article on every topic, but you could really go in. Maybe they've made the settings a bit tighter, a bit more secure, but you could go in and just like click the edit button and you could change it. You could change anything. I would change like random facts. I can't in the moment think of one example of any time I actually changed anything, but I promise you that I did. And it was kind of funny. Like I'd be sitting in class. I must have been older than grade 5 if I was doing this in class, but I would sit in class and I would just like, I don't know, just change things. But every once in a while, you go on Wikipedia, they're asking for donations, and it's like a cup of coffee costs, $7.50, which if you're ordering from a certain coffee shop, you know that it does. We just need everyone to give $2. And it's like, if it's just randoms writing your articles, what needs to be paid? But I'd imagine it's such like a big site. It takes, there's like a cover, there's, you got to pay for the upkeep of that big of a domain, I think would be the term. And there aren't any ads on Wikipedia, so that's pretty cool. But I would just like more of a deep dive into that. If anyone is aware of a Wikipedia documentary, let me know. And as soon as Netflix greenlights a documentary I want to do on the spam call centers, I will let you know. And that'll be our little deal. So until next week, keep listening. If you want to promote us, you could say, hey, friend, pal, buddy, someone you love, someone you hate. Go on to podcast, nobodyaskforthis.podbean.com, and you can click on any episode there, pick an episode, any episode. Like I said earlier, we do not talk about current events, so you could pretty much click on any episode and it would be like it was new. I guess by that same token, you could click on any episode and it would also be like it was old, but you know what I mean? And you could say, hey, I think you would enjoy it. You can also listen to us on Spotify, podcast app on Apple or whatever, iTunes, whatever you call it. And yeah, if you took the time to listen to this, I really appreciate it. I also statistically know that no one did, because I see the views and no one's for sure making it to the 32-minute mark, but that's okay. I hope all of you have a great weekend anyway. Stay humble, and bye.